The last phase of software development process according to Rational Unified Process Model is the transition. The transition is the phase where the software already exists, but it has not been tested with the target platform or target environment, or it has been only limitedly available to the target customers. If we look into the workflows and phases of transition phase, we see that, of course, the requirements workflow has already ended, as is analysis workflow mostly, and design workflow. The rest of the tails of analysis and design here are more or less used to tailor-make the user interface to match the expectations of the customer, or make some small changes to how the software or system behaves to get the customers more accustomed to using the software. This is also why the implementation workflow has so large tasks involved in the early phases of the transition period. The testing and quality assurance in general is the main idea of transition phase. At the end of construction, the software is ready for deployment, but it has not been tested in a target environment. This means that the software has already been tested as an entire system, and in theory it already works, but it's still uncertain if the customers feel that the product functions as they wanted, or if there's some small changes that has to be made to make the product more appealing to customers. In games, this would mean something like releasing your game in limited beta access to test that your server system is capable of handling all the traffic, or that the user interface is intuitive enough combined with the tutorial so that the customer is able to play the game or understand the different features of the game. And testing all these things and making the necessary changes to match the customer skills and the product features is one of the main things that are meant to be done in the transition phase. So, in the entire project life cycle, as with all the other project phases, inception, elaboration, and construction, we get the full product or one proposal for full product in transition phase. We have all the features and all the requirements which are implemented. So in transition phase, the idea is simply to take the product into use. So finalize everything and ensure that it fulfills the requirements and fulfills the needs and is actually something that we wanted to do. So basically, the aim of the transition phase is to ensure that the client's requirements have indeed been met, or that the customers are actually enjoying the product, or that the customers, their full expectations are fulfilled. So all the rest of the faults that we find are corrected, the manuals or tutorials or user interface is completed, and also there's an attempt to discover any previously unidentified risks and possibly do some patchwork or additional content or other things after the launch to make sure that everything works as we want them to work. Anyway, of course the deliverables, considering that this is the phase where the software product is finalized, of course means that all the artifacts are done in this phase. After the transition, we actually go into upkeep and maintenance, meaning that we can also release additional content later. But in the transition phase, the idea is that we will make the first commercially available version, or we make the version that's delivered to the customer for use, and perhaps later in additional software process then supplement it with the DLC content or extra additions or extra features or stuff like that. So basically
the construction which happens here is mostly these releases or iterations happening during the construction are adding the needed features, whereas in the transition the iterations more or less test that everything works, and if there's a need to do some additional small things, then we might still implement new features. Finally, the milestone of transition, of course, is the deployment of the product, setting it available in App Store, putting it available in a digital distribution market, getting the boxed version into shops, or delivering the product to the customer environment, starting training work, testing out that or maintenance work, or getting everything set up for continuance project or next project with the new customer.